Good evening, Brokers Playbook Familia. Uh, good evening to all my friends in the business. Good evening to all of Ryan's friends in the business. This is Simeon Papa Elias, and we are live with Brokers Playbook tonight. And I have the very special Ryan Coyle on with Connect.ca. Ryan, welcome to Brokers Playbook, my brother. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Simeon. It's a pleasure to be here. I know you guys have had a lot of success with this podcast and all your videos, so I'm excited to finally have the invite.
Yeah, man. So there's a few. So I mean, like REC, myself and Jazz put on the REC Brunch every second Saturday morning. That's our client facing, our investor facing podcast. Where
love that one. You always have great guests.
It's been an incredible ride. In when we switched from live events to Facebook and to YouTube and to do all the things that we do virtually now, nobody knew how that was going to go. So the success of it has been absolutely unfathomable to us. Anyways, we're not celebrities or anything of the sort. So for us to get 100, 200, 500 people on a live is unfathomable.
Yeah.
So we're digging. The Brokers Playbook is our effort of giving back to the industry. They gave us so much, and having a guest like yourself, and I definitely want you to talk about your roots, your beginning, and where your vision is taking you next. We've been in the business literally the same amount of time. We spoke a couple seconds ago. You're in the business 15 years. This is my 15th year, so I'm 14 years in the business. Jazzy's been in the business for 16 years, a year and a half more than I when I was in the financial services sector. But this is our way to give back. And what I want people to understand and take away from this is I'm going to share literally what we do and how we do it. You're going to share literally how you run your business and what you do and why you do it that way and all the successes and failures that come with it. But I think it's so important for the people watching. It's not because we want people to copy what we do, because nobody can copy you.
Right.
You're you and I'm me. And I'm going to analyze a situation differently. I'm going to respond to a client differently. Everybody has their own experiences that brought them to where they are. So by giving the secret sauce on the mechanics, I'm hoping to God that a broker that's in the business 10 years or a broker that's been in the business for 1 year can use some of the insight that we go over tonight to build a new $250,000 a year in their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The chances of us running into the same client is slim to none. We live in a city of 8 million people in the GTA, 10 in all of Ontario.
For sure.
So I hope to God that people don't think from a mindset of scarcity or that we're silly to do this. I don't think there's that many people that are that dumb anymore, to be honest.
Yeah.
But for those who are, let this be a lesson that sharing and collaboration is going to take you so much further than the contrary.
Yeah, so, I couldn't agree with you more.
And I will say with absolute certainty, I know, because we've collaborated and shared strategies at the highest level together for the last few years.
Yeah.
Meaning what works for you, what works for me, what are you doing different? Where are you spending your dollars? Is it worth to spend dollars here and there? So those are the.
I think it's really why the real estate market as a whole, but especially what used to be the niche of pre-construction condo sales and investing has now become what it is because, agents kind of you're able to evolve with like a larger group and a larger sum of people, right? And, there's was a core group of platinum VIP brokers that shared ideas. And I think that really kind of expanded, and there's a lot of success for the realtors, for their clients and the builders because of that. And I think it's really just kind of that collaboration that's really created the growth and the buzz that is the Toronto condo market, to be honest.
No doubt about it. And I will say that collectively, between that top, let's call it the top 50 brokers in the city, we literally move 50 to 60% of the condominium volume in the city.
Yeah.
Let's call it top 100. I don't know what the number exactly is, but out of 50, 60,000 agents, you have a very small percentage of people that have a tremendous influence on how these projects launch and the inventory in the city. So I think it's so crucial for our brothers and sisters in the business to understand the process, and how it actually works, as opposed to what's fair and what's not fair, and all these things surrounding the misconceptions.
For sure.
Ryan, I want you to start with your story. I want you to tell me a little bit about how you started. I know you have an incredible partner for a very, very long time, and life keeps moving. Tell me a little bit about how you guys started. Tell me about what your vision was, how that all went, and we're not in a rush.
Sure.
But feel free to share as you see fit.
Well, I'll start from the very beginning. My father passed away when I was a young kid at the age of 4, and my mother was an incredible influence and just incredibly strong and smart and motivated person. And she owned real estate. And I remember at a very young age, still in the backseat of her car, where she would drive around on weekends, once a month, to pick up checks and cash from complete strangers. And I was always just completely, that stuck with me from a really young age. And she would talk about it with me too. And she'd be like, oh, they're paying my mortgage. They're buying this house for me, type thing. So it really stuck at a young age. And then in high school, I'd work with my uncle, who was a pretty significant real estate investor. And he had properties, and I'd, during the summers, do drywall and stuff like that, and get my hands a little dirty. Didn't love that, but I loved the whole property part of it. And then I moved to Toronto.
This is how old, Ryan?
Well, I was 4 years old when my mother was driving me around picking up checks, and I was still in the backseat of the car. So maybe I was 3. My father passed when I was 3. So I was young. And then I started working for my uncle, probably when I was as young as 12, 13. In the summers, doing like odd jobs for some of his properties. And it all kind of clicked, that memory of being young and then paying the mortgage and seeing what he was doing. So I was very fascinated by it. And I knew at a very young age I was going to be an entrepreneur, and I would mainly own real estate as a way of making a living.
No doubt.
And it's funny because my family is like full of teachers, my cousins, my mom, like my uncles, and they're always bragging about 2 things. And it was their summers off and their pension. So I was always kind of, my grandfather was always like, oh, make sure you have a pension, or have real estate and create your own pension. So, I knew I needed to own real estate at a young age to really do what I wanted to do and work for myself. And moved to Toronto. It's 19, I think. I owned a 5-plex. I think I bought when I was 20 in Brantford. It was my uncle, thank God, managed most of it, but it was a lot of work. The tenants were, most of their rental income was coming from welfare checks. You're chasing people for money. The property was old. There's always, stuff going on with the property. So then I bought my first condo in Toronto at Bay and Dundas, in One City Hall. And that was 2004, I believe. So it would have been 22. And my numbers might be off a year or 2 here or there. But anyway, so I bought a condo. I think it was ready in 2007. And I had bought it for 142. By the time I closed on it, it was worth 250. And then I put a tenant in there, and I didn't hear from my tenant for 2 years. And I'm like, what am I doing? Owning this 5-plex in Brantford. Sold the 5-plex. My uncle bought me out, and I refinanced the condo at Bay and Dundas, and I repeated. I bought a few more condos, and that snowballed very quickly into a portfolio of 35 doors I'm currently sitting at. And, I couldn't believe it when I refinanced my condo. I actually refinanced my condo before I sold the one property, and then refinanced. And I bought myself an Audi S5. I was like, I can't believe this is like free money. This is unbelievable. And then I kind of like, wow, I could do that to all my properties and to buy more property. So I did that, and I got into real estate, like you said, about 2000. So it's actually, I'm probably like 16, 17 years in the business. It's crazy. I was young. And the only reason I didn't get in sooner is because I just looked too young. So I was like, I'll wait. And then got into it, went to college, got into real estate, and I started driving people around. And, they're complaining about the wallpaper and all these different things. And it just wasn't like, it just didn't resonate with me. And it got pretty mundane. And I love meeting people and I love that part of it. But I started looking at properties and being like, well, you can add a door there and then go rent that out. And I would always see the dollars and cents and everything. And we'd go to a house and I'd be like, well, look, you could do this, do that. And people are like, oh, really? So then I started like preparing little kind of rental sheets where I would say, well, if you converted this to a 1-bedroom den, if I was showing 1-bedroom dens that day, I'd be like, you could actually rent this room out and help pay this much of your mortgage and, live mortgage free or whatever the case was. So I started just kind of putting an investment numbers type spin on everything. And then I just started getting really comfortable with it. And kind of, as things always do, when you put the right amount of time and energy into it, it just started kind of taking off. And I carved out a little niche as, selling investment properties. One other thing which was really cool was that with the number side of things, I was doing a lot of leases when I started out, just like, like hustling, doing 5 to 10 leases.
But it's quick cash flow. It's beautiful for
quick
cash flow.
Quick, and you got to pay the bills when you're starting, but it's a ton of work. Like it's more work than a resale deal.
Yes.
But what I started doing was I was like, I'm dealing with a bunch of people who would qualify with mortgages because they're giving me their credit report. They're giving me how much money they make. I'm like, I'm just going to pretend I'm a mortgage broker and be like, did you know you can get a mortgage and you could actually buy something? And then I would show up to rental showings and I'd show them that you can buy it. I know you have the money, or you could rent it. And this is what you'll look like in 5 years.
Especially back then, you could get those 5% mortgages. It was a fucking joke.
Yeah, that's right.
So no, it's brilliant. Great job. Go on with that.
Yeah. So that was just like pure hustling, grinding it out, trying to carve kind of my space in the industry. And then I met Matt Elkind, my business partner, and we had shared an office together at Remax Unique probably about 10 years ago. And he came from a finance background, and I came from, at that point, I was pretty into real estate investing and successful at it. And we'd always just kind of talk investing. And he liked how I took more of an investment advisor approach to selling real estate. And he was more of an investment advisor selling real estate. So, I guess I'll take a step back before I get to that. I was selling, so I did really well in my pre-construction condo at Bay and Dundas, as I just said. And then I'm like, this is so good. Why don't I try selling these to investors? And I'll just share my story. Like I could say, look, I bought it for this. It's worth this. I did that and that and that with it. So I started writing emails with like, I just did this. Come meet me at Edge Condos in Queen West. I'll be there all weekend from 12 to 4, Saturday and Sunday. And I cranked out 5 deals in my first weekend. And I was just like, what just happened? I literally been driving people around for 60 days, 90 days.
So let's think of that for a second. Not only were you driving people around, the typical real estate agent will go to an open house in an effort to meet a buyer looking for a price point and for a certain type of home.
Right.
So when you're at an open house, you're praying and wishing that that your elevator pitch is strong enough to engage someone in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
B, enough people are going to come.
Yeah.
And they're looking at a listing property, whether it's your listing or not.
Yeah.
The likelihood of you engaging that person, the likelihood of a deal churning is small.
Yeah.
Of course, you do it enough, you're going to get success with it. Absolutely not knocking resale or open house. It's the foundation of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
But to add value by saying that I did this, come meet me and I'll show you how at a sales center and crack out 4 or 5 deals in a weekend, my man, that's 80 to 100K even back then.
And that was it. And I was just like, what the hell just happened? And then I'm going all in on pre-con. And, so I just started figuring it out, and then Matt and I were sharing an office together, and, I was just kind of like talking about all these things, and, him and I lost contact. We went to different brokerages, and then he reached out to me probably like 3 or 4 years later. Anyway, we partnered about 8 years ago, and he's just like, look, I always admired what you did with kind of like the investment advisor approach to selling real estate. Would you consider a partner? And I'm like, yeah, I had a really ambitious goal at that point, from going from 5 deals on a weekend to 50 on a weekend. So,
Great.
I knew he had his background in finance and success in real estate. And, it just made a lot of sense for us to partner and do that together. And then, geez, I don't know, like, you want me to just like go into like kind of how things morphed from there?
Listen, I think this is a beautiful story, so I'd love to hear more of the story, because it's also touching on points that I think are super relevant to anyone listening. So if you're learning, and if this is your first rodeo, you're listening to literally one of the masters in the scene. And I'm not saying this to pump your tires, but there's volume in history that speaks to it. For anyone that wants to Google who you are and what you've done, or very simply ask around any developer as to the thousands of condos that have gone through our hands. So I do think it's awesome for you to share that story. Cool. And set up, because we can get to some technical and practical tips at any time, and we'll get there. But this is great. I'd love to hear more.
Sure. Yeah. So Matt and I partnered, and we started having a lot of success with it. And the goal was to go from 50 to 50 deals in a weekend. And, we really kind of scaled from 5 to 5+ to 10 to 15. And then we wanted to, how do we get to that next part? And at that time, we were, again, taking an investment advisor approach to selling real estate. So we were putting together really good investment reports. We're putting in financial pro formas. And we were walking people through the numbers. We were walking through people through the reasons why they should invest, and people were really getting behind it. And it got to a point where realtors were actually just like copying and pasting, cropping everything we did. Sure. And it was somewhat flattering, but then it was just like, at some point you got to be like, I think we put so much time and money into this. I think we need to do this a different way. And we came up with the idea to create a software that then kind of positioned all of our competitors as a team, as a community. And we created our marketing campaign so it would be branded to the realtor who joined not our brokerage or anything like that, just our kind of club. It was called Insider Condo Club. And we created a software. We created an amazingly designed flyer, and we'd send it to all of the 150, 250 realtors. It would have their name and info. They would forward it to their database. Their database would write it on their landing page we created. We would write all the emails because we know how to do it. And we would drive everyone's clients to a one-day event. And then we'd use the powers of numbers to fill a room with 1,300 people. And we'd sell an entire building in a day. And the way that kind of worked really well was because I was able to go to a developer and negotiate and say, look, I've got an army of agents. I've got a marketing campaign. I've got an event, and I'm going to sell your entire building out in a day. And you were part of it at some one or two of the developments, I know. And we just had an incredible amount of success. Everyone had a lot of success. And that was like the sharing part instead of the kind of fighting over it and sending the cease and desist letters. So that was, that was a lot of fun. That was crazy.
So I can tell you, and I'll pipe in right now. So at this very moment in time, in my business, I have an entire vertical of my business called REC Collaborations, REC Collabs.
Yeah.
Where I have a team of 40 agents doing resale, servicing our broker business in the GTA. And it would be foolish for me not to provide them with inventory that I get for myself in Jazz's business.
Right.
So REC is known for an investment advisory and consultancy firm.
Nice.
That's what we do. I'm a commercial broker by trade. My partner is a top salesman by trade. Put anything in front of him, he can find the value that the consumer needs in it. And that's just part of sales mastery. But just speaking to what you did a decade ago, into what I'm doing at this very second, it's not a coincidence at all, because I've never heard of the mechanics of the Insider Club before in my life. Whether we work together or not, I didn't know that's what you did.
Right.
And what I'm doing right this second is, instead of fighting over inventory, instead of hiding in creeping and scheming access and cooperating with brokerages, this, that, the other, I literally created a vertical called REC Collabs, where you, as an agent of, I don't care where you are, what brokerage you're with, you don't need to join my brokerage, you don't need to join me. There's no hidden agenda.
Right.
If you can get value from my relationships, you're going to pay the typical referral fee of 25%. You're going to have access to every opportunity that I do.
Right.
Period.
It's awesome.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I'm referring to. If you don't find value in my relationships, we have nothing to talk about.
Right.
If you do find value in my relationships, we have more bread to break.
Right.
And this is where Broker's Playbook, in my opinion, this is where you can benefit as an agent. For someone to reach out to you and win, for somebody to reach out to your network and win, for somebody to take what you just said and create something with it. Have we been copied and pasted? Every day, all day long? Go ahead and copy and paste. If you don't know what to say, if your mindset is not where it needs to be, you're not going to have success with it.
Yeah, you have bigger problems.
You do. And we've always taken the approach of, the more there is, like, do you need more pies? We'll bake them. The oven's hot. It's always ready. Like, you don't need to steal. Just speak up. We'll give it to you.
Right.
And we've created mega agents in the last decade. And we're going to continue to do so, because every time we do that, and I'm going to speak from let me be small-minded for a second. Every time you help somebody, you create reciprocity. Every time that you help somebody and they fuck you over, it's them that cannot show their face, not you.
Right.
It's them that are hunting and ducking and acting like fools out and about, because they can't come to terms with what they've done.
Right.
So this strategy of sharing tonight, and I do want to get into techniques that are effective, that you're working with today, that are winning, and things that are not winning, that you've tested and blew 10 grand on a marketing campaign that produced fuck all and gave no value to anyone. It's important, because I don't want to spend the same 10 grand behind you.
Yeah, for sure.
So I do want to get into that, but I did want to know that it's shocking. Well, it's actually not shocking. It's a blessing to hear the stuff that you've done and that I'm currently doing, that you may currently be doing in a different format, you always end up at the same techniques. It's just like expecting to sell 200 units a year and not picking up the phone. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no blue pill.
Yeah.
So the work has to be put in by someone, period.
Yeah.
So all the things that we're talking about are things that you need to execute on. So if you're going to do an REC Collabs, or if you're going to do an Insiders Club with Connect, it's very simple. Somebody has to set up all those email templates. Somebody has to do it every single time. We're talking about mass work.
Oh yeah, we had a design agency doing everything. We had investor reports that were 35 pages. We would do the research and we'd have an agency design them, and financial pro formas, and it looked really good. And
Amazing,
it's,
man.
you can't do that on a lot of developments, right? So it's like, and then most agents at that time couldn't, either they didn't have the knowledge or the resources or the money to even put that together. So we were just giving it to them.
Yeah.
And, like there's no secrets. We were able to negotiate extra points on top to be able to make it worth our time. But it was a way for people to collaborate and do things together to make the developer happy, to make us happy, to make all of the brokers involved happy.
Yeah, man. And what a tremendous effort. What a great story. I want to move from that, and I'm going to come back to it, because at the end of the day, for me, where I'm at in my path right now, I am 100% focused on scalability and growth. I had a massive success over the weekend with one of my colleagues, a Royal LePager out of Ottawa. Her name is Rachel Hammer.
Nice.
Rachel, I met her in Portugal at the chairman's retreat. We were talking about my story, her story, and I said, like, there's no doubt with a client base that you have that you can add 20 deals a year. There's just no way. So push comes to shove, a year passes, COVID, this, that, and the other. We're sitting on Clubhouse in a room, we're jibber jabbering with other brokers. And I was like, I just got a call. I got a call from Hunter. They were launching James House in Ottawa. He goes, do you have clients for it? Do you have any agents that you want to work? And I said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm calling Rachel right now. I give Rachel a call. She goes, you know what? I'll kill it. Doesn't this chick turn around, puts a couple people in her office together, a couple agents in her office herself. They put a dozen deals together like this.
Yeah. Awesome. It doesn't take a lot. It's a numbers game. And, you know, like, I like how you said that. She put a couple people together. They hammered the phones. They hammered the data. They knew what they were talking about. And that's how you do deals.
But this is $1 million agent. This isn't a dummy. So this is somebody who's sitting on a pot of gold with an untapped vertical.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to tell me that
the big agents, resale agents out there that have databases. They have no idea. You know, the agents that have been in their business selling resale properties to families, homes for 10 years, there's trust. If you get behind a building and you understand like the opportunity for investors and you believe in it, you can go sell, you know, there's no limit to what you can sell depending on your database size.
Ryan, let's do a script right now. You're the homeowner that I sold 5 years ago. I'm your broker.
Okay.
Ring.
Hello.
Ryan, my man, how you doing?
Simeon, fantastic. Great to hear from you.
It's great to hear from you, buddy. I just wanted to give you a quick call. I know we spoke a few months ago because we always do, because we always follow up. But I know we spoke a few months ago, but something just hit my desk.
Yeah, well, I'd love to hear more about it.
Okay, so basically, it's a brand new condominium launch. We know the developer extremely well. You might know them. I'm not sure if you do or not, but one of the biggest in the GTA. Their name is Marlin Spring.
Okay.
They're launching the House of Assembly. It's going to be in the Junction. And I thought because you live so close, in such close proximity, in the condo that I sold you 4 years ago, I know we bought that for $450K. I don't whether you know it or not, it's worth $700K right now. So,
yeah, are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you at all. So there's two.
No one's ever called me. All the other realtors I've ever dealt with, Simeon, no one's ever called me to tell me how much my property is worth.
So I am telling you right now that is exactly where it's at. You're looking. You have a 720 square foot condo. We're looking at a minimum of $1,000, $950 to $1,050 a square foot where you are, and we bought that. There's at the end of the day, there's a $250,000 to $300,000 delta that the market forces, whether it's you want to blame the pandemic, you want to blame cheap interest rates. That's how much value you've attained, Mr. Customer. So
I had no idea. Thank you.
So what I want to do is, I don't know what kind of capital you're sitting on right now and where your comfort level is, but I want to give you a call because we have an in. We're going to have absolute first access to the project. The pricing is expected to be at X amount of dollars. I'm hoping that in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have an update with the exact dates. But given the fact that you have such a massive amount of equity, it would be smart to leverage the interest rates right now to either rewrite the mortgage early if you can, to get a HELOC if you have to. But at the end of the day, all I need you to do is free up 100,000, 120,000 at the most over the next couple of years. Yeah. So whether you're sitting on 60 now.
You're saying I can tap into the equity in my property that has just gone up $300,000 and use that to go buy another condo for that to go up another.
Yeah, I don't want you to use your own money if you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean,
if you have it, great. But if we can use the market money that was created by the market forces, which is to your benefit, to pick up more real estate that's going to do the exact same. Yeah. We're talking about an astronomical or infinite ROI because it's not your money.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that.
So that's where I'm at.
I love the infinite ROI. I love that. Yeah.
So Ryan, all I wanted to do is I wanted to give you a call. I don't have anything to sell you tonight, but I wanted to create and give you the absolute most time because I just found out and worked out the details. They are going to give me all my typical investor incentives. So what I wanted to do is give you that heads up, whether it's 10 days from now or 25 days from now. I want you to know. And if you are interested, you can tell me now. You can shoot me a text later. I don't care. But if you are interested, I'm going to put you on my VIP list of the people who are going to have first access to my list.
Right.
That's all I'm doing today.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is a good idea for you? Do you want me to look into it for you?
Yeah, I'd love that, man. Count me in. Keep me posted once you have more information. I'm all yours. I'd love to hear more.
So with that being said, if you are a resale agent and you think that that's not a call you've made before,
right? Yeah.
But if you haven't made that call before, it's time for you to get on the effing phone, because what you're doing is you're not selling for your benefit. You winning as a broker is a result of creating value for others. In my case, in your case, Ryan, we're real estate investors first. I invested in real estate before I was a broker, and so did you.
Right.
So the benefit is baked into me. Like, I always knew this.
Right.
But there's a million agents that don't. And it's not because they're dumb, but it's because their parents were a factory worker. They didn't have the luck or fortune to see what you saw.
Right.
But now, if they're listening to this, they know.
Yeah.
So this is, to me, where accountability comes in. This is, to me, when if somebody gives you the knowledge that you just took from here, use that script only. Pretend you're the biggest dummy in town and that's all you ever heard. You make 100 calls, you're going to close 20 deals. I guarantee it.
Yeah, to past purchasers. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's another thing I want to add to that as well, is that if you're a resale agent, you're selling one property to each family or each person or whatever the case may be. If you call and you all of a sudden start adding an investment part to your business or a pre-construction part to your business, all of a sudden you can have those calls, and instead of selling your client one unit, you can start selling them 5, 10 units. I have dozens of clients who own 10 plus units.
Of course.
Including their primary residence, right? And it's really only from, most of them are just from using the equity the way you just explained it. And those are infinite returns. When you could just buy one condo and turn it into 10 condos, that's an infinite return on investment.
It truly is unreal, bro. So I think that's a huge component. I'm hoping that the resale agents that are able to take some value out of this do, and they do so ASAP. In an inventory, in a market that has no inventory. Literally, the market stats yesterday showed 0.6 months of inventory across the entire GTA. So there's literally 50,000 of us fighting over scraps.
Did you say 0.6?
0.6 months of inventory across the GTA. Is
that condos or all home types?
All home types.
That's crazy.
So you have 50,000 agents scrapping over the same listing, driving their value down, because in order to win, you got to give back this, you got to do more of this.
Right.
For you to add this vertical, it's a win on all accounts.
100%.
Yeah, man. I want to actually, I forgot to, I wanted to give a quick shout out to a local business. And I want to remind everybody that we are in a lockdown. A million businesses are suffering. And we are one of the lucky businesses that is not suffering as a result of the pandemic. So I do want to remind everybody how blessed you are to be in this business. And you need to do your part to support our local brother and sisters in other businesses that do not have the same fortune. In this, tonight I'm having a drink. It's called Bee's Knees by Storyteller Beverages out of Niagara. Nice. You can go to their website. They deliver to your house, and it's a delicious cocktail of gin, lemon, and honey. It's one of the healthier and less calories than other things. I have been trying to do as good as I can with all that. But please, but just please remember to support your local businesses.
Yeah.
Ryan, I want to quickly get into some techniques that you're using today. A, for lead development, B, for follow-up systems, what CRMs you're using, and a little bit of what's working, what's not.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I own my own brokerage. Right now, it's a sub-brokerage of Keller Williams, Connect.ca Realty. The full name's Keller Williams Urban Connect Realty. And, really what we've kind of based the foundation of our brokerage on is creating like a turnkey kind of boutique brokerage solution for people that are new to the business, people that are resale agents but want to add pre-construction to their business, or agents who are just, need help with marketing and want help with, the back office stuff and stuff like that. So, we have a lot of new agents, or a handful of new agents who come in, and we give them as many leads as they want. Like, it's literally give them more leads than they can handle.
So it's so
like,
easy.
like literally today, we're like, who's on this site? And we had like one person put up their hand and said, we have too many. So that's not a problem for us generating leads. Or just
so just to that, how are you generating them?
So our database is already massive. So I've got over 100,000 people in there. Like, I think it's like 125 or something. And we've done that through email advertising, Facebook ads, Google AdWords, and just we used to do a lot of trade shows as well. Like, I know you did some of those as well, and like we used to build pretty significant lists there. But it's 15 years of doing a lot of different things for the most part, right? So
an overnight success, 15 years in the making, bud.
Yeah, no, exactly. yeah, I love that. So yeah, right now we're generating them through digital ads. And some email lists, although email marketing was always my bread and butter, and that is how I did 95% of my deals. That is no longer the case. Everyone in my database is probably on 5 to 10 other realtors lists that do the same thing.
Yep.
So, to that point, I still, and it's hard because we're doing so much, but you have to differentiate yourself. And, it's difficult to articulate who I am in an email with all this experience and success. So, it's kind of around the brand and, differentiating ourselves in a one-page email versus the other 5 or 10 agents. So we try to provide good content and, why we would invest here and why we think it's a good investment. And a lot of time goes into writing those emails, but those are a really big reason why we're able to do the email.
No, but I will tell you that, and I'm not saying it from an arrogance or ego perspective. I know the type of email that I write, and that's kind of how I've built the business, is by breaking down and giving content, good content, valuable content. And I will tell you that from our entire competition, let's call you competition for a second. I can tell you that your emails rival mine, and or are better. So I look out for your emails in my day-to-day business because they are so effective. So if I was not a broker, you would be my broker because of your emails. Just like other brokers resonate with people for other reasons, whether it's you like the way I speak or you like the way I do my videos or whatever. For me, it's written word. Written word is very important because that's how I break down info. Yeah. My mind.
Yeah. And you know what? I get so busy now, like I missed that part of it. Like I used to write a lot of the emails, and I have an amazing marketing person who does it for me now, but that's the only way I could do it to be able to run multiple businesses and stuff. But
it's the only question I'm not going to ask you to share.
Yeah. I wrote an email today actually, and I would love to hear your feedback tomorrow. Let me know what you think, because 100%. I had a lot of fun writing it. It's my personality, and it's like, there's a lot of good facts. So I'm excited for that email to go out. I think it's going to do really well. But yeah, I mean, that's it. And it's really like generating leads. So, and then in terms of like our HubSpot, so I guess like we're a full service brokerage. We create the leads. We give you the leads. We use our CRM to actually automate the lead follow up and the touch points for you. So really all we expect from our agents are to hammer the phones. And follow up with text from time to time. But we use the CRM HubSpot, and that allows us, and it took us a year to build out these workflows. You're on HubSpot.
Yes.
And
it's just so weird. Like our business is literally a ridiculous mirror. And I can't say that for that many more people. Like it's just not. It's mind-boggling.
For sure. So, I mean, there were times, and I'm sure you can attest to this, where I was just like, what have I done? Why HubSpot? And I've got an incredible marketing person, Stephanie, now, and she's just kind of leading the team and getting them familiar with it. But it is, I don't know that I needed such a complicated system. But, it got me to where I wanted to be, where I'm able to automate the emails, the text messages, the follow-ups for my agents. And really, I just want them pounding the phones. And then we've got a whole automated follow-up system. I've got 4 assistants. I've got a pre-con assistant. I've got a leasing one. I've got a marketing one, and I've got a digital marketing one, who assist me and assist the team. So all of our agents have access to all of my assistants. All of the agents have access to our assistants. And, we're having tremendous success with it. Like one of my brokers, who didn't do, I don't want to speak on it, but 1 or 2 deals maybe in his first year, he's already done 17 deals this quarter. and I'm like, I was just talking to him today. I'm like so proud. And he's like, he's going to do another 15 this quarter. He's already like 3 into the quarter. So his goal was 3 last quarter. And then he's already like 3 or 4 into this quarter. Like he's going to hit his targets. And, that just comes from, it's a numbers game. You keep doing it. You keep trusting the system, and it works. And a lot of people I find just don't do well with rejection. And it's kind of just creating that, how do I get past the rejection? How do I, especially someone starting the business? And, one of the tips I always give my agents is that, and I forget the numbers now because this is what I used to do, but like, the average condo sells for $700,000. The average commission is $28,000. So, you need
like
to call
obscene money.
You need to call 300 people in order to earn $28,000. So that means every time, let's do the math, every time you call someone, your goal is just to call 300 people. So if you divide 700,000 by 28,000, sorry, what you're making $25 per call. Is that right? Is my math right? So
it's 28,000 divided by 300.
Yeah, sorry, 28,000 divided by. Nothing worse than live on Facebook and not remember.
Don't worry, you can take rejection quite well.
So you're making about $95 per call, but you need to be rejected to win. And that's what people don't get. And it's like, I used to get so excited when I hammered the phones. I don't do a lot of that anymore, but I would have my whiteboard next to me and I'd write down $93. I'm like, I just earned $93. And then I write down 93 every time until I get a deal.
So I don't think it's rejection. So I'll be honest with you. My opinion and my experience in life, I think blaming it on the fear of rejection is a really nice and cushy way of putting it. I think it's downright fucking laziness. People are not willing to do what it takes to really succeed. So when I have my December meetings with my team, and they tell me they want to do 300K this year, I want to do 400K, I want to do 150, I want to do $1 million. There is a number of them that do that. There's a number of my agents that are fucking slayers.
Yeah,
that's how we got to where we are in an organization of 20,000 agents.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not going to say that my team are not hard workers. My team are the hardest working, in my opinion, in the industry. But inside my team and inside my experience with people in and people out, the majority of people are not willing to make 300 calls to get that one. Even though it's a $30,000 deal, even though if you hammer 50 calls a day, forget, I used to be in the call center business doing 120 calls a day. Forget that. Make 50 calls a day in an 8-hour span, talk coffee, eat an hour lunch, make 50 calls a day. That's 6 days. 6 days.
Crazy.
If you're an entrepreneur, you don't work 6 days a week. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you.
Yeah, you're in the wrong business.
This is what I mean. So if you can make 28,000 a week,
yeah,
it's $1.5 million a year.
It's mind blowing. I've got 125,000 leads who express interest in real estate on my database. I'm spoon feeding leads. All you got to do is do the work, and so I'm starting to see it with a lot of our agents, which is like just amazing. I had someone who started with us about 2 months ago, and I don't want to speak to how much he was making per year, but in his first month starting working with us, he made more in that month than he did in previous year. Right. So it's, it's just grind. And he has no more expertise, actually considerably less experience than some agents who just don't want to put in the work. And that's the difference between success and not success. It's the work.
Well, I'm going to get on the trajectory of closing this thing down.
Sure.
What I'm going to say in no uncertain terms, if you are a newer agent, if you're a mid agent, if you're a senior agent, if what we talked about tonight resonates with you, if what we talked about tonight triggers you to think that you might need a change, you don't need to join our teams to succeed. You want to join our teams because we have a very similar model. Everything Ryan just said, Google Ryan, reach out to him for help, reach out to him to hop on his team. If you want to work his leads, if you want to help him build his business while you make $1 million, call Ryan and call me. But you're still building my business. You're not building your own business.
Yeah.
So it's transactional. So I want to make the difference clear. I'm not saying don't call me because I don't want you. I'm saying call me because I would love to add a great agent that works hard on my team. You're going to make a truckload of money and so will I. Yeah. But it's not how you build your business.
Yeah.
When Ryan did this, and the reason Ryan is welcoming you into his house is because he wins too. And there's nothing wrong with that kind of team member collaboration. That's why I have a team of 40. You have a team of what you have. But if you're looking as a broker to build your own business, you need to do all this on your own first. So there's a tremendous amount of work, but there will come a time that you're banking $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million a year on the back of your scalable business. So it is worth building, but it's also a 15-year in the making process.
For sure.
Let's be clear about it. But if you are an agent who is looking to work tomorrow, if you're sitting at home twiddling your thumbs, get this through your head. Pick up your phone, reach out, whether it's to myself, you want to go check out Ryan's shop, I can send you to 5 more shops of great people that Ryan and I work with. Our competition is our friends. It's who we hang out with. So like we have friends and we go out. Like when we go out, we're literally at launch events hanging out.
Yeah.
So there's no time for certain people and certain makes of people to hang out and play Nintendo. But I can send you to 5 great people who have the exact same problem that we do, which is too many leads and not enough worker bees to smash through them.
For sure.
So Ryan, my broski, I want to thank you so much for everything you've shared tonight. It's, in my opinion, of tremendous value to me. I enjoyed hearing your story and everything you had to say. And I truly hope and believe that our community, Brokers Playbook community, my friends in the business got value by it's going to launch officially on the podcast page, but even on Facebook, I don't care if one person went in there or 5, I hope somebody got some value. Broski, thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure, man. I appreciate it.